Hey folks, well today, new show, unboxing a surprise from CGC. We got hurricanes coming into town. We've got a lot of work being done to get prepared. And again, guys, as I've told you, look at the path of these hurricanes. Miami, for some reason, tends to get away from most of these. Unfortunately, not all of Florida is so lucky, but we do tend to have some luck in this area. And I can only pray for those that are still in the path. It looks like it's going to be a monster storm. But for now, let's worry about comics. Hey guys, welcome back. Alex here, Comic Talk. And I wanted to do an unboxing today. Want to do an unboxing because I also want to talk about the market. I think based on some of the responses I got from the last video, there's a lot of people out there that are a little bit worried about this market. And one of the messages I want to send folks is this. If there's three different types of people involved in comics. They are the new speculators that are chasing covers, that are buying things like Harley Quinn or Poison Ivy or Null, and that's all good because that is the future. That's 20 years from now of what we're doing today with like the Bronze Age, right? 20 years from now, those are going to be the explosive comics, and there's always going to be a series of comic books in the group that are going to excel above the group, right? And I'm talking now about this modern group. For example, one perfect couple that we can talk about is the Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. Those are two what I would call outside the norm of what happens in the modern era. Because in the modern era, what you really are finding is a lot of people are chasing artists, right? For example, I just bought Fantastic Four 360, about 2 copies of Fantastic Four 360. If you haven't seen what Fantastic Four 360 is, check it out. I think it's it's an Annihilus story. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Annihilus. If you want to be investing, I think one of the things you want to do right now is during this slump, go pick up Fantastic Four Silverage and pick up Annihilus and pick up Strange Tales, which brings us to an unboxing. Some, I would say maybe, hold on guys, I'm grabbing my trusty little knife here. Sometime maybe about a year ago, I received a comic that I thought was in magnificent condition. And you guys have heard this from me before. eBay is always a box of surprises. You send something in, and what you get back really sometimes is based on your inability to properly grade. But I have found that other times it's based on CCS's problems in fixing your books, cleaning your books, pressing your books. I found that they tend to tear the covers off these staples. I've been getting more and more covers either with spine splits that didn't have them before, and they're classified as having spine splits. I'm not going to open the CGC case for now. I've got one case that I will open. And if you've watched my show, you know what it is. It's Walking Dead 18, I think, with Michonne on the cover. That thing should have been a 9.8. I got an 8.5 on it. And I got it because it said that there were fingerprints and the page was wavy. If I crack that open, I clean that up, that's going to score at least a 9.6. I can't even imagine it not scoring a 9.8. The book was never even read. I bought the book after I bought the compendium and read the compendiums so that I wouldn't read the book. I have the entire Walking Dead collection sitting flat from the day it was bought, never opened. I've always read the compendiums. So How can I get a 8.5 is beyond me. But again, that was during the height of CGC's massive growth in volumes, which kind of threw them, I think, a curve, and they ended up hiring a lot of people that honestly did not know what they were doing. I don't know how much training they got, but they likely got as much training as Soviet soldiers approaching the Ukrainian front, if you know what I mean. So all I can say is let's hope for the best, and we're going to open this box. Now, I am pretty sure this is a Strange Tales. And I sent this Strange Tales because I am collecting Strange Tales. The reason I'm doing it is people don't understand Strange Tales is probably one of the earliest Marvel series that had superheroes in it. And not only did it have superheroes in it, but it had the Fantastic Four, which is one of the most popular lines of comic books in the entire Silver Age. I know that today we feel about the Fantastic Four. Actually, this is Strange Tales 105. Oh, I already see the gray back here. Okay, guys, I'll get more into it afterwards, but here it is, 6.0. Okay, this should have been 8.5 minimally. Let's see if I can get this to be without, there we go. Gosh, look at the spine on this thing. This comic book, I'm trying to get it without any glare. You can see this comic is in fabulous, fabulous, fabulous condition. And I get a 6. Now that's a $400 and some comic. Let me tell you something, I don't complain. Oh, look at the back. There's nothing. Nothing. Nothing on the back. Let's see if I can get it into a better. Gosh, I don't know why I'm getting this reflective light all of a sudden. Normally I don't get this here, but okay. So anyway, so that's the comic. Why Strange Tales? I'll tell you one reason. This is February 1963. I believe Amazing Fantasies predates this by maybe Spider-Man 1 or Amazing Fantasy predate this less than a year. Fantastic Four predates it by maybe a year and maybe 14 months. So they were maybe on issue 14 of Fantastic Four, maybe even issue 10 of Fantastic Four when this comic book was published. This is a Human Torch, and let's see what we have according to the grader's notes. Let me take a look at the grader's notes and I'll be right back. Okay, so if you haven't used CGC's new or haven't gotten a new CGC, in the back you see that UPC or URL code there, that will take you directly to the grader's notes, which are right here. Ooh, can't see it too well. Sorry about the glare there. But basically, what it says is comments: Stan Lee art, Lieber stories, Steve Ditko, John Heck art, Jack Kirby, Dick Ayers cover and art. Second appearance of the Wizard, full Fantastic Four appearance. Okay. Staple detached on top back cover. What does that mean? So I guess the staple is attached to the front tore and the back has a gap. Maybe that could be. I mean, maybe I missed that. Light creasing to cover, moderate cover tanning. You really think that 6.0 is a good grade for a comic book of this age? I can't even see cover creasing. I can't even find where this cover is creasing. Please take a look at this. I know it's hard with the camera, but tell me if you see any creasing on this cover. Look at let's look at the spine for a minute. Do you see even a spine tick? For the love of God, there's not even a spine tick. This is again, guys. This is the problem. Okay, this is the problem. We are slaves to CGC. I love CGC. I think it's a great service. I think there's something missing from CGC, and I'll tell you what it is. It's the fact that we are tied to individual graders that vary. Therefore, if you get one grader, you're going to get one kind of grade. If you get another grader, you're going to get another kind of grade. I have seen books come back to me 9.0 that are worse than that book. I have seen books come back to me 6.0 that are arguably 9.2. I mean, in my opinion, this should have come back a 9.2. Wow, listen to that. You hear that? The comic, that case is actually loose in there. That's unbelievable. I felt it when I moved the comic. It just seemed to slide, but it's not. I mean, it's not tremendously bad, but you would think that they could make a case that's actually tight. But okay, so I got my 6.0 second appearance of Wizard, full Fantastic Four appearance, Strange Tales 105, February 1963. Okay, so why Strange Tales? And let's get back to the economy, right? There's, like I said, there's three different type of buyers. They're the buyers that are buying the new stuff. I'll give you an example of something that I've recently bought. Because, I do buy some of the comics that come out. And the reason I buy them is because I actually like them. So these are it. I'm going to show you of the picks that I've done because I find them to be, first, inexpensive. And like I told you, I'm not buying to flip tomorrow. I bought these to flip them in maybe 10 years. And just because I actually like Shazam. So I bought a couple of Shazam #1s. Just 3. Nothing major. All cover price. Got a little discount at my LCS. This is the way I support my LCS. I would never buy anything like this on eBay. Not at least when they first come out. I rather buy them at an LCS. I have an LCS that's actually the oldest LCS in Florida, A&M Comics, and that's where I buy my stuff when I go looking. Another. The new champion of Shazam. This is a beautiful cover. It's another variant. These are same comic, just different variant. Here's a Black Adam variant. Another Black Adam variant. I got this because I absolutely love the show, and it says Netflix up here, and I honestly believe this, I think, was a giveaway. I think this was Black Label DC giveaway. Neil Gaiman Sandman. It's actually a very nice cover. If you watch this show, you know that I actually use Sandman in the intro. I think it was great. And then these actually I got some time ago, but I'll show them. These are new. These are probably the newest comics I've got. This Marvel Comics. And you know what? It's good that I brought this up. Let me tell you something about Marvel Comics, or this kind of title. Marvel Comics Presents, Marvel Premiere, Marvel Spotlight. If you're going to hunt, that's where you hunt. And that is why I'm still doing it with Strange Tales, because Tales to Astonish, Strange Tales, and Tales of Suspense were the Marvel preview, the Marvel spotlight. All of those were what those comics were. That's where they put stuff in that they were testing out. And that's the reason why they had Captain America and Iron Man in Tales of Suspense, because they were trying to figure out which one of those comics sold more. So at the beginning, it was only Iron Man. And then there were some stories behind it, probably sci-fi stories, maybe a couple of Iron Man stories. And eventually they brought in Captain America. They brought in Captain America after he appeared in Avengers #4. But I'll show you an interesting little thing about the first actual appearance of Captain America in the Silver Age. By the way, before I do that, let me just finish with the new ones. Invincible, this is not the first, this is the second. I got that because of the popularity of the show, and I actually like the design of Invincible. And then I got this Iron Fist because it's basically like a retelling of the original intro to Sabretooth. It was a Marvel legacy. So, I mean, these are here in case I want to give comics away. Believe it or not, these three are probably going to be giveaways that I'll do when somebody buys comics from me. And I've got my all my comics on eBay. Depending on the comic book, I tend to sometimes add something to the sale. So I will add, I don't know, sometimes I have stuff like this that I've thrown in, especially during the holidays. This is a postcard that was created back in 1992. And I have a few of these that lay around. So what I've done is I've submitted, or I put some of these. I'll show you some of the ones I have. These are not all of them. These are some of the little giveaways that I'll put in there. X-Men 1. Here's a X-Men. There's another one of that. I have a few of these that are repeated. And they were really cool. They came out in 1992. So I know people love the artwork in some of these. Here's the X-Men again. As I said, I have a couple that repeat. Amazing Fantasy, Captain America, and Captain America. So, I mean, and that's just part of it. Sometimes I'll put Marvel cards in. Sometimes I'll put entire comic books in. And that's those comics that you saw are the ones that I'm alluding to. Those are the ones that I'll likely be putting in. But anyway, getting back to the anthologies, or I don't know if they're called anthologies, but they're basically comics that are listed under a name like Marvel Preview, and then the characters alternate. And that's the reason why I got into Strange Tales, because Strange Tales had the ability to bring in different characters. I'll show you the CGCs I have of Strange Tales. See this, a 6.5. This is a beautiful comic too. I mean, it's really hard, by the way, they're very hard to find in high grade. The reason I submitted that other one was because I thought for sure I might be able to get a really good high grade on it. Unfortunately, I did not. There's another Strange Tales. 4.5. See, and that's what you tend to actually find with Strange Tales, is a lot of comics that are going to be in the 4.5. I try to not go any lower than 4.5. And this bag's sealed. I'm not going to take it out. It's a 6.0. And this is probably one of the highest grades I've got in this age. A 7.0. Paste Pot Pete. The funny thing about Paste Pot Pete is he showed up in the first, I think it was the first Doctor Strange, which is Strange Tales 110. It's one that I do not have. Here's another CGC. See, this is when they introduced Nick Fury into Strange Tales, and they started the entire run of S.H.I.E.L.D. Basically, I believe S.H.I.E.L.D. was created, invented, and first time ever shown inside Strange Tales. So there's a lot of value to that one. I think this might be, let me see. No, it's not. I have the first time Sterenko drew Shield, which is somewhere here. Not sure which one it is, but here's another. Strange Tales. This is number 152, and that was a 8.5, and this is 8.0. See, as they get higher, you do end up getting better and better, greater and greater conditions. You get improved conditions as it gets higher. Now, one other thing I do is sometimes I get duplicates. You saw this one in CGC, I think it was a 4.0. Now this one has some sort of LCS mark here, or newsstand mark. It's pretty large, but it's actually pretty cool. I can't even read it well. It says sale something. I can't really make it out. But if you look, it's, let's see right there. See that triangle? That's the mark. Now, remember I mentioned Captain America appearing first in Avengers number 4? To be quite honest with you, maybe that's where Steve Rogers first appeared, but not Captain America. This is the first time Captain America appears in the Silver Age. Steve Rogers is mentioned in this comic book. Condition isn't too bad. I think this is probably a 4. I would hope. Somewhere around a 4, maybe not, because if you look at the Marvel chipping, it's pretty bad on this side. So we may be looking at like a 3.5. I don't think it'd be less than that. Maybe it could be a 3. It could very well be a 3. So this will likely stay raw. The reason I keep this raw is right now this is probably, I want to say about a $300 comic in its condition. If I get it CGC'd, I may get it to be a $350 comic. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. So that's one of the reasons. But that's what you can find in these anthologies, right? You can find something like Captain America's first appearance. There's another Strange Tales. Number 118. Let's see who's down here. This is probably like the 4th appearance of Doctor Strange. He wasn't even in the comic yet. Another Strange Tales. I'm going to show you this is 120. The last one was 119. The one prior to that was 118. And here's 125. I definitely do not have all of them. See, co-featuring the mysterious Doctor Strange, he's still not in Strange Tales. He's still, like, they're still toying with bringing him into Strange Tales. And it's so funny because inevitably he ends up leading Strange Tales with Nick Fury as the backup. This is the first Lou Marmol. This is a very expensive, this is becoming a very expensive comic. At one point I had 3 of these. I could buy them for like 15 bucks, 20, 30 bucks. I sold them all, unfortunately. I kept the best one. Strange Tales 128. See, now Doctor Strange is showing up more and more and more. But the comics, well, yes, it does. It does have Doctor Strange on the top. Let's see when that started happening. Okay, so it started after issue 120 at some point. Not sure. This is like the first one I have. That's got Doctor Strange up there on the upper corner. This here. So I guess that's when he officially became part of the series. This is a beautiful comic. I think this one, it's got one nasty little spine tick down there, But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. 130. See on the bottom there, this bottom corner here? That's the only spine tick it has. Strange Tales 132. Strange Tales 133. And you know that in the multiverse of madness, these are going to be coming up. This is one of the early shields, not the first shield by any stretch. Huh, interesting. This Mylar got damaged. Have to replace this. Wow, that's bad damage on that Mylar. We got to change that. 151. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but for you guys, look at the bottom corner there. See that tear? That's Mylar somehow broke. Never had that happen. 153. Sterenko obviously came in and just killed it with his artwork, making Fury one of the highest selling comics and probably one of the most notarized or most identified versions of pop art in the 1960s. If you don't know much about Sterenko, he's a really interesting character. You should check him out. I'll tell you some things that I've heard that aren't substantiated because there's a lot around Mr. Sterenko that is unsubstantiated. One is I think he's a master magician. So he's actually, I think he's part of the Magicians Guild. The other one is there's some stories that were always talked about that he was actually working for the government agencies, either the CIA or something like that. And that's one of the reasons he was so focused on Nick Fury and creating that character. If you've ever met him, he is a character himself. He is Mr. Cool. I don't know, you guys may be too young to remember Peter Lawford, but if there's anybody I've ever met that's resembles Peter Lawford, it would be Sterenko. He kind of looks that style, wears the turtlenecks. I mean, he was wearing turtlenecks when Steve Jobs was still either in utero or a small child. So if you want to talk about wearing turtlenecks and making it stylish, take some pictures or take a look in Google on some pictures of Sterenko. Okay, so getting back to collecting today. Yeah, I think that if you go into compendiums, you're going to do a lot better. And the reason for it is because there's always different types of characters that show up that are surprises in the compendium comics. The other thing that you need to also remember is I see a lot of fear in the podcasts that I listen to. I mean, with the exception of Comic Tom, who's kind of kept it steady Eddie. He does the same show. He's always focused on how the industry is improving and what's going on. And I think he does a great show. And then there's others that I watch, but all of them have kind of been steering into this abyss of despair, I should say, not even fear. That they're all afraid that their comics are going to be worthless. Guys, I don't know if you've taken a look at your stock market, but your stock market has suffered more than your comics have. I can tell you that from my own experience. My market, my stock holdings are probably at 50 to 60% what they were. Thank you, President Biden. The comic book industry is going to be affected. But what's not going to be affected are the high-priced comics. The high-priced comics are going to continue to sell because the people that are buying them are insulated from this kind of pain. For them, a 5,000, 20,000, 80,000 comic is the same as you and I paying $400, $500, $800. $80,000 to them is the equivalent of our $800. And I think that market is not going to be affected at all. We're going to continue to see the high flying prices, like we saw that $5 million price. I think it was for an amazing fantasy, and then we just saw a $3.5 million for Superman #1. So those are going to continue to happen. I think that you're going to see the greatest influx of cash of that magnitude going into the Golden Age and parts of the Silver Age. I think that the concept of key collecting is really what's ruining our hobby. And I'll be brutally honest with you. As a hobby, as a collector, key collecting is okay, but you're really not collecting. It's the equivalent to people who would buy um, record albums back in the day or CDs back in the day for one song. You're not really a big fan of that band. You just like that one song. That's the same thing with Key Collector. You're not really a fan of Spider-Man. You're not really, I mean, yeah, you could be to some degree, but you're not a hardcore collecting fan. The hardcore collecting fans, for example, Reggie collects. He's one of the guys I listen to, and Reggie's been killing himself to complete his ASM collection. I think he actually has it completed or is really close to completing it. That guy loves Spider-Man. Now you find a guy that bought Hulk 181. You think he likes Hulk? Do you think he collects Hulk? Do you think he has more than 181 Hulk? Probably not. That's a key collector. He collected it because it's the first appearance of Wolverine. And they're selling them based on these first appearances and stuff of that nature. The reality is, guys, don't get fooled. These comics are worth something only because people are willing to pay for it. If you're going to sell your comics, and this is my advice, start early. Put the prices you want on them. And right now is not a good time to sell, by the way. If you're going to sell right now, I would bottom sell. I would sell my garbage. And by garbage, one man's garbage is another one's treasure. And that's what I mean. I don't mean garbage that it's trash. I mean that it's to you, not what you like. I would sell the stuff that you have, like, you know, the things I showed you guys. These, right? I could sell these. But you know why I don't sell these? There's no market for them. The market is very small. The market, I mean, if I would put one of those Shazams up, I'd have to put it for $5. Why am I going to sell that? Why am I going to go through the hassle of selling something to make $2 or $3 when, you know, eBay's going to take a chunk of that? It doesn't make any sense. So realistically, what to sell today is what you don't want to keep, that you may get some money for, or that you might be able to trade with someone for. If you're going to trade, conventions are the best place. Doing trades over the internet's a little tough. You have to find somebody trading. You have to find what they are trading, something you want, and then be able to show them something they want. When you go to a convention, you get to walk across all these different vendors. You show them what you got. You tell them, hey, I'm looking for XYZ. The negotiation starts, and there's another reason why you're going to get a better deal. Those dealers went there and paid already for their table. They invested in the travel. They put thousands of dollars just to get to that convention. They got to make that money back. And as long as those comics are sitting in their boxes, they're not making that money back. The only way they make their money back is by moving them. So is a trade something you're going to get a lot for? Not if it's pure trade. But if you do trade in cash, you can get a pretty good comic for that trade. So that's my advice on, you know, if you're going to be selling or trading, where to do it. I think from a sales perspective, yeah, go on eBay, keep your prices to those that really mean something. Don't try to sell something just for the sake of selling it. You're going to go through a lot of work. You're going to have a lot of time that you're going to have to dedicate. Figure out what your hourly rate is. Add that to the amount of time it takes you to box it, ship it, go to the post office, whatever it is that you do. Add that amount of time there and see if you're making a profit. Or should you just go to work and make more money that way and keep your comics? That's reality, guys. So the last thing I'll tell you about the industry right now, you don't have to sell now. You do not lose any money if you hold on to your comics. You will realize your gains the day you sell, not on what's on the channel, not on what I'm saying, not on what's on the price guide. None of that means anything until you sell. And I'll give you a case in point. When I was younger, I would go to the LCS to sell my comics. The only thing the LCS wanted to do was sell comics. So buying comics from a guy like me meant that they wanted to give me 20 cents on the dollar because they felt they were going to have to sit there with it on a shelf until the day somebody else came in and bought it, and they already had other merchandise. So your merchandise adding to their merchandise just created more competition for the next dollar, unless you had something that would drive in business. And either case, you were never going to get the kind of money that you get today. So what I am trying to say is you're living in the best time to be a speculator, an investor, and a collector. Right now is the best time because right now you can go out there and buy stuff cheap. You can flip it and you can make a lot of money on it. And if you don't want to buy, remember what I've said. Look inward. Look at your collection. Start fixing your collection. Start looking at what do I send to CGC. Get ready now, because when the prices go up in a year, it's when you're going to get your books back. CGC takes quite a long time. They've been trying to change that, but you're still going to, between the time you ship it and the time you get it, I guarantee you're going to spend 2 months, maybe 6 months, depending. Totally depends. I mean, I don't know how much you want to pay for grading. I like to go with Express Max. I don't do anything beyond Express. I don't do walkthroughs. I honestly, I go for the cheapest because what I'm doing is just taking comics that I already own and having somebody else give it a grade so that I can maybe more easily sell it in the future. Because remember, no matter what, you can't eat it. You can't take it with you. So you're going to sell it. Maybe not today, but you're going to sell it. If you're thinking, I'm going to give it to my kids, I'm never going to sell, you're still giving it away. You're going to sell it for no money, but you're going to sell it. My whole point is prepare yourself if you want to sell online by getting them graded. It's the easiest, best way to get the most money for your comics. If you keep them raw, you may have the advantage of not getting that 6.0 that I got, because I could have probably sold this Strange Tales. If I would have put it out there raw, I would have put it up at an 8.5 to 9.0. Definitely. Because that's what I saw in it. I mean, I don't know how they give it a 6. But am I going to crack it out? Am I going to send it back in? No. No, this comic is too old. This comic will suffer if I crack it out of here. And the best I'm probably going to get out of it is a 6.5, considering it says that the staple is detached when I never saw that. But again, I recently got another CGC that had a complete spine slip, a spine split from top to bottom. And I sold it. It was an X-Men like 26. It was a beautiful comic. They broke it. They split it because I would have never, ever sent it unless it would have scored an 8.0, which is what I thought this was going to do. The other ones you saw, I bought that way. Some of the ones that I have that were 8.0s, I sent in. I try to only send in 8.0s and above. Every now and then, I get something like this. This is a beautiful comic, guys. I'm incredibly happy to have it. I absolutely love Strange Tales. If you're looking, by the way, one last thing before we go. If you're looking to collect right now a new line, and you want to know which one I suggest, give me one quick second. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, talking about this. Annihilus. Grab as many of these as you can, folks. In my opinion, this is the comic. This is the character. And not this one, but also Giant Size, I think it's 6, is actually the best one to get. This is probably your second shot at Annihilus and getting a great comic in great condition. I would say that this is probably a 9.0, maybe an 8.0, maybe an 8.0. This will likely go to CGC. Yeah, there's got to be like an 8.0. I mean, it's got a little bit of wear up here, and then it's got a little bit of wear see, down here. Gosh, I don't know why the focus on this is so awful. Down here. Down here. Okay, so besides that, this comic is absolutely in mint condition. So, Annihilus, Fantastic Four. My opinion, only my opinion. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Please just understand. I think Fantastic Four is where everybody should be putting their money into. If you look at Fantastic Four 360, the one I mentioned, that new comic that was drawn by Alex Ross, which is a beautiful comic book. I got two of them. One of them is for me. The other one's a surprise. But I think that that's going to be the story they're going to tell. I find it hard to believe that they're going to commission Alex Ross to do Fantastic Four 360, that it has Annihilus in it, and that's not going to be the movie. So, guys, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit longer than I had thought, but there are a couple of comments that I wanted to make, specifically the one about, remember, you're not losing money no matter what the price of the comic book is on the market until you sell it. If you sell it today, you will lose the money. Unless you need the money, do not sell your comics right now. I am only selling the things that I want to sell. I am only selling the things I want to get rid of because I have too many comics. I am not selling the comics I love. And I suggest that two things. You do the same and buy the ones you do love only. Thanks a lot. See you soon, guys.